Hi everyone, it's Jay from Mitosu Crafts. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to our channel. Today I'll be sharing how to color emboss on black cardstock. I'll be using Comfort and Hope stamp set for the sentiment and background, lovely label sponge to stamp the sentiment on, accents from the Forever Gold Specialty Designer Series paper, and I'll be using these lovely laser cut leaves. For the ink pads, I'll be using, of course, Versamark stamp pad, Tuxedo Black Memento, and Magenta Madness. So the colors that inspired my card is actually from the Spot Creative Challenge. So I'll be using Pool Party cardstock that measures 21 centimeters by 14.6 centimeters, or that's 8¼ by 5¾ inch folded in half. Basic black layer, and that's 9.5 centimeters by 13.6 centimeters, so that's a centimeter smaller than the card front, or that's 3¾ inch, and by 5 3/8 inch. So any card base that you have to have the same proportion of the border, that will be 3/8 inch less than the card base. Okay, so let's get started. So with heat embossing, you'll need to prepare your cardstock. I do have this embossing buddy, but sadly it has retired from Stampin' Up. So you just need to cover your card base in powder. And I'm going to be using this to stamp on the background. So I'm going to keep the layout simple. And I'll have this on the top. And coloring on. Clear embossing powder. So that will be the layer done. I'll heat emboss that in a second. So with the sentiment, I've gone ahead and pre-cut some of Pool Party, Thick Whisper White, and Basic Black. So I'll show you how the lovely label sponge work first. So you can fit in 3 different sizes, so 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, or 1 inch, or that's 1.3 or 1.9 or 2.5 centimeters. So these ones are 1 inches or 1.9, and that will just be placed on top and it will slide really nicely in. And then you just punch it down. Whatever the design on there will be on your punch, on your card, even punched on your card. So just make sure you get the offcut. And then just punch that down. So the size of this was the size of my card width, so that was 10.5. The excess you'll actually take off a little bit more, but you could always keep that to gauge how far you are away from your edge. So that's how you would use that one. And for this one is 3/4 inch, so that will be the middle. So I'm gonna keep that down, and the size of this was 1 centimeter less, so 9.5, or that is the same width as the layer. Yeah. So I'm just gonna cut that, punch that, just to show you on how I got to those. There we go. So the easiest way to achieve colored embossing on black cardstock would be with Stampin' Blends marker. So prepare your card, ink up your comfort and hope, and stamp it. Okay, and I'm gonna use white Stampin' Emboss powder. So this one just gets added on. There you go. I'll put that aside to heat emboss in a second. Another way of color embossing on black cardstock would be to actually heat emboss on white cardstock, and you will do something like this. So you may have seen our live stream last week where I created this card and achieved it by heat embossing. So we will ink up our stamp in Versamark and then ink up the same stamp with the color you would like to emboss in. Stamp it and then add clear Stampin' Emboss powder. There we go. There we go. So I'm gonna heat emboss all of those elements, and I'm gonna fast forward the video. If you are enjoying yourself, don't forget to hit that like button and do consider subscribing to our channel. So these are the embossed pieces. So that one was white embossed, and then that was the clear emboss. So for the white one, so we do not currently have the Magenta Madness Stampin' Blends marker, so I'm using Lovely Lipstick, but you can use your Stampin' Blends marker to color the white emboss, and that will give you a colored emboss on black cardstock. You can go over it again once it's dried to make it more intense, and because it's on black cardstock you won't see any excess over the edges of the sentiment. But as I said earlier, the colors that I needed for The challenge is Magenta Madness. So I used the ink pad for this, and I'm just gonna darken it with Tuxedo Black. So that one, you'll need a sponge dauber as well, but you can just wipe your cardstock to make it much more faster. Or have it like that. There you go. So I'm adding a bit of pressure and then moving it across. So just to finish it off, you can just use your dauber to darken all of the areas. And because the clear embossing powder resists the ink, it leaves the sentiment nice and free of the black ink. So you can see the difference. The color on the ink pad is a lot more brighter than the Stampin' blends. So I'm just gonna wipe off any powder, excess powder, and then add that onto my card using multi-purpose liquid glue. If you do not have any of the products, Stampin' Up products that I've used today, check out the description below. As independent Stampin' Up demonstrators based in the UK, you'll be able to purchase craft supplies from our online shop. There you go, nice and easy. And the pool party was the size of the card base, and I punched it with the lovely label sponge. I'm just gonna add that on there. Not forgetting my lovely flourishes from the Forever Gold Specialty Designer Series paper, and then I'm gonna add my embossed panel in dimensional. So with this one, I'm just adding tiny bits of glue, just dotting it in the bigger areas of the laser cut piece. There we go. If you do order from our online shop, please use the the current host code, which can be found from our online website, mitosocrafts.com, to get an extra thank you from us the following month. So you'll get a handmade card and some sampler gifts as well. If you order more than £45 before PNP, you'll also receive a free tutorial bundle designed by the Stamping Glam Squad. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish up with dimensionals. Here we go. There we go. I hope you enjoyed this video of how to color emboss on black cardstock using Comfort and Hope stamp set and Lovely Label sponge. Here's the other card, which I've done the same technique but using Ornate Thanks and Tasteful Touches stamp set. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time, bye!